Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Napoli tie 0-0 against Hellas Verona at home, but I think the headline today is the fact that the Ultras and Aurelio De Laurentiis have come to a peace agreement before the game. I mean, yes, the game is super important. The fact that we didn't win is super disappointing. But if you think about the importance of this agreement in relation to how the game on Tuesday is going to go, that's massive. And we all know that the game on Tuesday is the most important thing. But maybe let's hold our thoughts with that aspect. Let's stay a little bit focused on today's game, the one against Verona. Spalletti made a lot of changes today. He had, obviously, Osimhen out, which we saw later in the game. But we also took off Kvaratskhelia. We also took off players like Zielinski, like Lobotka, like Rahmani. You could say maybe Mario Rui as well, even though him and Oliveira are both at the same level. And that's a lot of changes. It's something that we obviously expected coming into this game. I think it was the right decision to make all those changes. Obviously, we didn't win the game. But I think that resting some players and avoiding injuries to some of them is the most important thing that we needed to do today. What I do think is that maybe Victor Osimhen had an extra 10 minutes in him today. And maybe that would have also prepared him even better for the Milan one, because unlike other players, he doesn't have to preserve energy, but he has to get into the rhythm. And I feel like we should have tried to max out his playing time in the second half. Maybe not the whole second half, but I definitely think just by the way he looked on the field that he had an extra 10 minutes and that, maybe with those 10 minutes we would have even scored a goal, because when Victor Osimhen came on the field, we looked like a totally different team, guys. We were absolutely, we were absolutely more into the game, pressing for that goal. It felt different with Osimhen there. It was a different energy, and in fact, he came closest to scoring, hitting an incredible crossbar. Now, I think he could have scored if it was maybe 10 more minutes on the field, but let's see some comments first, guys. What you guys think of the game? Hafiz Yusuf says, I wish us good luck today, obviously before the game. Sufus Koba says, why are we still this team? This destroys teams like Juve and then shows nothing against Verona. Always Verona, the Maradona. Only hope is that they were thinking about Champions League. Obviously, guys, I mean, you can't really judge Napoli based on this starting 11. It's really not a reflection of Napoli's value. So I don't think you could compare this game to the one we had against Juventus, just simply because of who was on the field. It's clearly our B team, if not C team. Chris F says, I'm hoping after the Milan Champions League game and this game that they have a fire in them and take it all out in Milan in the second leg. The only way I'll be satisfied with this tie. I was expecting, to be honest, today, that even though we didn't have the starting 11 and that the quality might drop from the team, I was expecting a bit more fire from some of these players, especially some of these players that didn't get a chance to prove themselves very often this season, like a Demir. I just expected them to really put in everything today. I didn't quite see that. I didn't quite see it also from players that play here and there, like Raspadori and Elmas. I just felt like they had a very average game. In the case of Raspadori, it's very clear that he's not a number 9, just like Elmas is not a number 9 that we saw against Milan last week. Raspadori in the Serie A this season has one goal, a very important goal against Spezia, but coming in from outside the box and collecting a loose ball in the box and scoring. He's not one that has his biggest strength as an aerial threat or as a 18-yard box threat. Even the goal, for example, the amazing goal that he scored against Ajax in the Champions League, that goal, he wasn't waiting for the ball inside the box. He was outside of the box when he collected that ball. And the problem is that when you play against teams like Verona, they like to sit deep and you have to have a presence inside the box that just keeps those center backs occupied. And then finally we had that when Victor Osimhen came on. It's a real shame that Simeone is still injured, because I feel like he would have done extremely well against his former side. And yeah, that was a hard game to watch, as Nicholas. I agree. It was, to be honest, it was as bad as the one against Lecce. It was as bad. But the thing is that at least Lecce, there's other teams, the small teams in Serie A, that are all trying to play football. Lecce, Cremonese, like literally every team is trying to build some sort of style. Whereas Verona this season is absolutely dreadful to watch. They are incredibly bad, and just do not want to play. They're anti-calcio. Guys, I know it's not the most enthusiastic result, but I would appreciate it if you guys do smash that like button. It really helps get this channel across to as many Napoli fans out there. And then once we get a certain number of likes, then I'll put in a poll for today's game, because I know you guys love polls. Blue Line says, this match is preparing for the next Champions League game. Nice to see different players, them and Zedarka playing. Osimhen coming back. Napoli is perfect in making chances and just needed to score them. That's a very optimistic view of the game. I do think it's true that it's nice to see players like them and Zedarka, especially Zedarka. I wonder what his role is going to be in this Napoli team in the future. We saw him in a new position today. We saw him play right wing instead of Politano. Remember, he started playing for us, or his youth career as a left back. Obviously now that position is occupied by Mario Rui and by Oliveira, and it was nice to see him play on the right as well. This shows that he's quite he's quite duttile in Italian. I don't know how to say it. Quite ductile, not ductile, but quite flexible with where he plays. Janis is saying, Dom, the mic volume is too low. Let me fix that for a second. All right, you guys always want a higher volume. I'm gonna raise it up. Let's see if that is any better. And I'm sorry if for anyone that thought that actually it was okay before, because I think it should have gotten a bit higher now. Let me know if that's better. Let me know if that's better, guys. Let me raise it up even more. You know what? I'm gonna raise it up to the max. There we go. Max volume, guys. And yeah, hopefully that's gonna be better. But do let me know if that's better, guys. I'm also maybe too far away from it. Right, let's move on from that. I hate microphones. Papa says Milan defenders will have a tough one with Osimhen for 90 minutes. Yeah, of course. I mean, and he looked good. Osimhen looked good today. He looked like he had fire in him. When he smashed that crossbar almost fell down. Tamia says Spalletti screaming Gazzo, the ref is the most interesting thing that happened in the first 70 minutes. At least he had a bit of fire in him. Abbi Alabi says the whole Verona team just sit down and wait. We should have buried the game in the first half. That would have forced them out of their post, but good to see Ossi impact. Let's go Tuesday. I also realize maybe why sometimes the volume is a bit low. It's because it's on my left side, and then I have to read your comments, and they're on my right side. And this is a directional mic, so I guess whenever I'm turning my head, then I'm turning my head away from the mic. So that's maybe what's happening. Anyways, Sufus Koba says, why not start Zedarka against Milan? He's surely better than Lozano and maybe Politano. Mate, if Spalletti does that, then he definitely wins the award for biggest cojones ever. Because how can you put in a guy like Zedarka who has no experience in a game like this? On the other hand, it's not like Politano and Lozano are doing much. So, yeah, I mean, maybe. Maybe. I wonder if Spalletti might ever do something like that to throw Milan off. I really doubt it though. I really think he's gonna go with Politano on the right. Payman Dadkar, man, thank you for the £4.99 donation. As always, supporting the channel, really appreciate it. He says, I'm worried about Scudetto. We need to wrap up. Raspadori is really poor game after game. What is his position? Lozano, no words. Osimhen is GOAT. I always love his analysis of the game because it's short and sweet and covers about 5 different players every time, which is awesome. Look, worried about Scudetto? I don't think so. I mean, yes, it's true. There was a point where we were 22 points ahead and we said it's fine. Then we were 20 points ahead and we said it's fine. And then we were 18 points ahead and we said it's fine. Then 17 and we said it's fine. Then we were at 16 points and we said it's fine. Now we're at 14 points. And at some point, you got to stop saying that you're fine. At some point, you have to then start saying, what are we doing? Are we throwing all of this away? Now, I think whilst we are still 10 points ahead, we're still fine. If we ever drop below that with, let's say, more than 4 games remaining, then that could start being not so fine. Look, we got to win 4 games in the next 8. That's doable. The thing is, I also don't think Lazio or potentially Juventus, let's see if they give them back those 15 points. I don't think they're going to start winning all their remaining 8 games. Also because, that would be absolutely absurd by those teams. So I'm not worried about the Scudetto, but it does, I think, validate one of my theories that I had been saying for many months. And I said, if we ever switch off in the league because we think that we're so far ahead, it's going to be hard to switch on again. And that also affects your Champions League because at the end of the day, guys, your performance on the field is 100% down to how you train over the week. And if you drop the intensity in training, that's going to affect you long term. If you drop it for 1 week because you think, I just have to play a Serie A game over the weekend, I feel like the effects last longer than that. I feel like mentally, I don't know, guys, like, have any of you been to the gym and you have this routine, you go there consistently, and then it's very easy to go to the gym, right? But then as soon as you take a break for about a week, coming back to the gym, that's the hardest thing to do. That first time after you take a break, because it's so hard to break habits. And if you start doing a habit where you're not training as hard, you're not playing as hard because it's just Lecce, it's just Verona, that becomes a habit, and you can't just change your behavior again just because then you have to play Milan midweek. Or potentially Inter next time, or potentially Man City in the final. It's hard to switch on that switch again because you've built yourself a habit of not playing strongly. So yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. But let's see some more comments. Georgie says, I smashed the like button as hard as Osimhen smashed the crossbar. I love that, guys. Keep smashing it in. Great to see that there's the likes coming through, even though we weren't, the best today on the field. Well, I mean, we were the best of the 2 teams, but we weren't looking amazing. If you miss one of Osimhen, Lobotka, and Kim, this team struggles. Well, we're definitely going to be missing Kim against Milan, but I think Juan Jesus is a decent replacement. I also think that, Kim is a fantastic player, so that's still going to be a huge loss. But I trust Juan Jesus, and, Rahmani can step it up. Let's see how that goes. Lawrence Moore says, do Napoli have to sign Raspadori at the end of the season? If I were Adiele, I wouldn't waste the money on him. He just hasn't performed this season. You know what? Raspadori is not a number 9. We got Raspadori, I think, in the case that we needed to switch to a number 10 player at some point in the season. We started off clearly with a 4-3-3, but if we were to ever go to a 4-2-3-1, Raspadori playing behind the striker is a great option. And who's to say that we won't play that formation next year when we have new players? Because yes, guess what? We are going to be selling some players and we are going to be buying some other players. It happens to every club every single summer. And clubs do change their formations. I mean, we've seen City dominate England and Europe, and then all of a sudden this season they started playing with 3 at the back at times, just to shake things up. So Raspadori to have in your squad as a number 10 is great. The problem is that we've been playing him in the last few weeks as a number 9, and he's clearly not a number 9. So I wouldn't judge him based on that. But I would keep him. I would keep him, honestly. There's just a different type of game that we need to play with him. Mike Ekstad, thank you for the $5 donation. Says, tell us about the history of Napoli Verona. I was told that they hate Napoli. Why? Nice to see Inter and Milano slipping up. Drop a like for Domingo. Did Inter lose some points? I didn't even realize Inter lost some points. No, they haven't played yet. They play Monza, but yes, Milan slipped up. But yeah, thank you for the $5 donation. So Napoli-Verona, look, the rivalry is quite old. It's got some territorial, definitely, background to it. And, back in the 80s, I don't know if you guys have seen the Maradona documentary, but it shows it there quite clearly, that basically the Verona fans were chanting things against us. They were definitely quite racist, I would say. And then we responded to them with a poster at one, well, not a poster, but one of those banners in the stadium. And guys, Verona is where they have the Shakespeare Romeo and Juliet things. So we basically said that Juliet's a hoe and Romeo is getting cheated on. That was just some banter in the 80s between these two clubs. We definitely won that war with that banner. There's obviously some rivalry there because of North versus South. But I think it's more on their side. I don't think Napoli really cares too much about Verona. I mean, they're just too small. Whereas Verona, whenever they play against us, are really quite hateful and distasteful. Whereas we like to play around with them with a bit more like tongue-in-cheek comments. Let's see some more comments. When will the decision for the Juventus 15 points be official? Asks Giannis. It will be sometime this week, I believe, coming up, 18th or 19th of April. And Napoli Gaming says he thinks Juan Jesus was excellent, along with Oliveira. Excellent's a strong word, but I thought he played well. And I didn't say he didn't play well. I think he played well. Fabrizio Landria, ciao. Come stai, Fabrizio? Says, Osimhen top. He is warming up for Tuesday. Yeah, dude, I mean, the fact that he hit a volley and hit the crossbar, he just needs to calibrate it. He was just calibrating. Now he understands where the goal is. He took the maximum height. It's very clear for him now, and he'll score a few against Milan. Is my hypothesis. Sufus asks, what has Ostigard done to Spalletti? Look, I just think that Juan Jesus is Spalletti's mate. They were together at Roma. They were together at Inter. They were together now at Napoli. He's like Hizai to Sarri, They were together at Empoli, at Napoli, at Lazio. There's players that just have a special feeling with the coaches. And that's what it is with Juan Jesus. So I don't think Ostigard did anything wrong. It's just that Spalletti really trusts Juan Jesus, and he doesn't play badly, to be honest. Paul says it felt kind of hard to judge Raspadori now. He just recently came back from a longer injury. That's also true, guys. We are judging Raspadori for being out of position, but also right after an injury. And, he wasn't 100% fit. That's why he didn't start against Milan, because he had a little bit of a recurring injury. He wasn't 100% recovered from the long one. So, yeah. Paul De Rican instead says, I didn't want to see... I lost the comments. Says Raspadori's quality, but we need to adjust our play to accommodate him. Expecting someone up front to move on soon. Yeah, he's a number 10. He can play a number 9 only if the other team gives you a lot of space. And if the game is open, it goes back and forth, then yeah. But we'll see in the analysis why maybe we could have done better. So let's go into that actually. And let's see how the game evolved. Now, I'll be straight up, guys. There's not many slides here because the game was quite boring. But I felt like we had a good chance in the first half with, look at this one, with Demme passing it to, I think it's Elmas, and then Elmas onto Raspadori, and Raspadori making this run. But you guys watch the game and you'll remember that Raspadori was half a meter too late. Now, if this was Osimhen, Raspadori would have... if this was Osimhen would have gotten to the end of that pass because of his sheer speed. Raspadori instead doesn't have that kind of speed, and we'll see an example again later on. And, that's a shame because this was a very good play by Demme and Elmas playing first time. Then we did get a goal, a scrappy one in the first half, but it got ruled off for offside. Oliveira here sticks his leg out, doesn't touch the ball, but kind of interferes with play. And it's the reason maybe why the Verona defender didn't get a chance to clear it very properly. And Verona, they scored an own goal here, but it was ruled off for offside. Now, I'm actually quite... Look, I wish we'd won this game for sure, but I'm actually quite happy this is not how we got a goal. Because here's the thing, guys. We needed these 90 minutes to really understand what are our difficulties. And over the course of 90 minutes, it's now very clear that we need Osimhen, that we need to play a certain type of football, blah, blah, blah. If we had gotten this goal, it would have been 1-0 for Napoli. Verona would have had to open up. We would have maybe scored a few on the counter. It would have just hid our problems. No? I was just thinking of something I read earlier this week, and it's like sometimes, well, whatever, I won't go into that. But it's basically like sometimes, there can be some things that hide, some things that are like good, like a goal, but they hide the truth, which is the fact that we don't play well with this formation. But yeah, I was going to go on a different tangent, but there's no need. I think the point is very clear. Right, now, let's take a look of, why Giacomo Raspadori, let's call him Jack, isn't the best fit for a number 9 position. Look, here we're countering. Politano has the ball, and he cuts inside to his left foot. Now, look at the position where Raspadori is, and then think for a moment, where would Osimhen be if Osimhen was on the field? And I bet you Osimhen would be in that space. And from that space where I've highlighted where Osimhen would be, it would have been easy for Politano to put a ball over the top towards him, and then he would have been through on goal. The thing is that Jack Raspadori just doesn't have that kind of pace. And so, Politano here is forced to instead play the ball backwards. And then it's these little details that make the difference. So, yeah, I thought this was a very neat example of how much we're missing Osimhen. But also, I thought today, in the first half, the midfield was a little bit absent. We have this other situation here where it's the defenders that are taking the initiative to attack. You've got Oliveira and Kim acting as our midfielders, and Di Lorenzo instead making the run as a striker. Now, I'm all for playing total football, Holland slash Ajax in the mid 70s. Everybody plays everywhere, no positions, just vibes. I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with people just playing wherever they need to because that's where the space is. That's fine. The thing is that I'm seeing it a little too much, especially with Di Lorenzo. Like, he is too often in attack, and I mean, I'm grateful that he's taking the responsibility. But if Di Lorenzo is our best striker over the last 3 games with 5 shots each game, what does that tell you about how difficult it is for some of the other attacking players to get involved? Every time Di Lorenzo takes a shot, that's not good for our strikers. It shows that they're not able to get into the play, So yeah, that's another I think way to interpret this kind of situation. Lawrence Moore 14, thank you, man, for the £199. Says, hey Dom, where do you get the Napoli sweater? By the way, it's fire. So you can find this on Amazon. I'm warning you, it's super tight, like super tight. So I would say whatever is your normal size for Napoli gear. So I'm normally a small, so I got a small. But I would suggest maybe if you want something a bit looser to get a medium for this one. If you're a large, get an extra large, stuff like that. Now, I'll just, while I'm at it, while I'm reading the comments, let me just see what else has been said in the meantime. And Napoli Gaming says, hey Dom, did you see the ref from the World Cup final was assigned to the Napoli-Milan second leg? I did not see that, actually. I did not see that he was assigned to us. So that's obviously very interesting. Is it the Spanish fella? Let's see, what's his name? World Cup final referee. Oh, nice. Okay, the Polish guy. Yeah, he wasn't bad. I like him. 42 years old, experienced. Yeah, I like this guy. Okay, yeah, that's good. Anyways, let's move on. I'll read some of your comments a bit later. Don't worry. I see them. They don't disappear. I'll just move on with the analysis a little bit. But guys, before I do, keep smashing that like button because I'm bringing you guys some analysis on Napoli games that I don't think you can find elsewhere. Actually, you can find it elsewhere because there are some people that do copy some of my stuff. No one in English, but there's a guy that copies my things in Italian. He just waits until I post these screenshots, and then like the next day he'll make a video about it as well. But whatever. But yeah, smash that like button, guys. Anyways, let's move on. Right. Again, same thing that we were talking about. Second half, who does this chance fall to? Di Lorenzo. Now, very close to scoring. I mean, I wish he scored, but again, I just wonder what's going on here with the fact that Di Lorenzo is getting all our chances. It's not normal, I would say. And then, obviously, in the last 15 minutes, we had all our starters come on, and the game changed completely. Now, I do think that over here, Lobotka has this great chance to play, once again, Di Lorenzo making a run. This guy was everywhere. But instead, we've got Osimhen there, who really wanted the ball. He takes the ball, and then and I think he should have left it. If he had left it for Di Lorenzo was facing the right way, he might have had a better chance to score. Here, Osimhen takes the ball. There's maybe a penalty shout over here where him and the defender come together. I've got a chance to look at that twice now. I'm not 100% clear whether the defender touched the ball first or not. Either way, I wouldn't have liked to win with a penalty. Like, what I wanted to see from Napoli today was we play against Verona, one of the worst teams in the league, and we managed to find a way that is not an own goal, that is not a penalty, that's not a set piece, that we actually create a proper chance. So, yeah. Then here, once again, Di Lorenzo with a chance. Like, this is crazy. Every time it's Di Lorenzo. Single-handedly, carrying this team over the last few weeks. And then afterwards, we have the Osimhen crossbar, where it was a beautiful play between Napoli players, between Politano, Di Lorenzo, Zielinski, Lobotka, Anguissa. It was this beautiful tiki-taka. Falls to Osimhen on a half volley, and he just, smashes that right into the crossbar. Few inches lower, and it would have been an amazing goal. I think the stadium would have collapsed if he had scored. And, then finally we have Verona, that counter. And this is something that, for example, we have to avoid against Milan. Like, against Milan, I don't want to see scenes like this until at least the 92nd minute, right? We better not concede a goal like this on the 80th. Like, I really, really, really hope that even if we still need a goal in the 80th minute, we don't commit all these players forward. Because I do think that, this is something that should only be happening from the 92nd onwards. Okay, here it was the 90th, so not too bad. But even then, it was still like, dude, come on, you still have 4 minutes. This is too risky. But, we got super unlucky. We got super lucky because I've never seen a worse shot in a one-on-one situation than this. But Lobotka, I think, did enough to recover, which shows some great attitude there. Did enough to bother the Verona player. Meret didn't come out too much. He was in the right position, and then we were super lucky that Kevin Lasagna had just been taken off the field, because if this was Kevin Lasagna, then Kevin would have scored, even though maybe he wouldn't have had the pace that this player had. And then the final whistle went with Zielinski, who was close to crossing the ball. I think he was even inside the box, perhaps, and Osimhen could not be contained. He was so mad at the referee that he had to be held down by some staff. And for me, I love that. I love that because it shows that the guys that came on, especially, they really care. They really care about the result. They haven't completely detached, and they've got this fire in them. Like, after a 4-0 loss against Milan, after the 1-0 loss against Milan and the injustice of the referee, like, they have fire in them, and that's what we need. Let me see some comments, guys. Tamiya says, how do you feel about Kvara recently performance? Do you think Ossi coming back will relieve all the defensive focus he's been under? No, I think Kvara is always going to have some defensive work to do. That's just how Spalletti tells his wingers to play. I do think that his attacking will be much better because he's going to have Osimhen to play with instead of Elmas or Raspadori, and we talked about it against Milan. When you have Osimhen up top, it's so much easier. You just put a ball in the box and he's there, or he drags players with his speed, with his runs, away from whoever has the ball, so that helps Kvara as well. It's going to be a great partnership, possibly, hopefully, against Milan. Sufus Kuba says, you mean Valerio Fluido? No, I mean, look, Valerio is a great YouTuber. I really respect Valerio Fluido. He's been doing this for a really long time, and he has great videos, and he does one every day in Italian. Really like it. I mean, sometimes he might take some ideas from me, but I would say that's not the bulk of his content. I would say it might happen just once in a while that I notice it. But he makes videos literally every day, so it's not like he lives off that. So I have no problem with that. But you know, there's some others that blatantly just take like the whole live stream element of it after the game, and yeah, just literally just take the entire slide deck, which is crazy to me. But yeah. Anyways, okay, Boomer, you have to stop. Whoever is Boomer, I'm gonna block you. If you keep saying Lozano out, Lozano get out of my club, Lozano get out, and all that, we get it. Just say your comment once, bro. All right, don't make me block you because I know you're a reasonable guy. All right, but it gets annoying in the chat. So I'm gonna give you a yellow card. All right. Anyways, Cesco14 says we dominated the game. We just don't have the same click to score goals as we did. Yeah, let's see if we get our mojo back against Milan. That's all we can say, really. Old Heart Rossonero, what's up, my man? Joining from very close by. Says, if you can remove one player from Milan, who will it be and why? All right, I mean, it's kind of very... You might think it's obvious. I think the first name that springs to my mind is Leao, and then I think only if we could play him on the right, and I know that Leao likes to prefer playing on the left, but we've already got Kvaratskhelia there. If somehow we can get Leao playing on the right, then I would love an attack with Osimhen, Kvara, and Leao. But if he doesn't play on the right, then I think my next best option would have to be Mike Maignan, for sure. For sure, it would have to be Mike Maignan because, look, Meret's been great, but I really think Maignan is top 3 goalkeepers right now. You know, together with Thibaut Courtois and who else? Yeah, together with Thibaut Courtois, I think he might be the best out there at the moment. Meret's been great. He's not a bad goalkeeper. It's not like we're desperate for a goalkeeper. But I do wonder, you know, if Napoli did have Mike and you guys had Meret in the last game, what could have happened? Having said that, when we faced each other in the Serie A in the first part of the season back in October, I think it was, Giroud's shot, which Meret saved onto the crossbar, that was pretty special as well. So Meret does have some very good saves under his belt this year, and he has been for the most part very reliable. It's just very clear that when one player has the game of his life in one game, and in that same game Meret could have maybe done better on one of the shots, on Benacer's shots, then it's clear that the difference is highlighted a bit more. But I don't think that was Meret's best moment. All right, Boomer says Maignan for sure, so it seems like he has stopped talking about Lozano, so you're good. Thank you, bro, for adjusting. But Aaron M says Maignan, not even close. I would remove Maignan, says Mohem. Hito Boki or Bocci says Theo. Look, Theo is a very good shout as well. He's one of those players that you hate if he plays against you, and I think Milan fans love it because he plays for them. Yeah, he's a game changer. It would have to be, for me, between Maignan and Theo. Yeah, I think Theo gives you a lot. Mike Maignan is the only correct answer. You know what? I said I would do a poll. Let's have a poll. Who? So thank you, Old Heart Rossonero. Let me ask the Napoli community. Who would you remove and take from Milan? And consider who they would replace in our team. So I'm going to go with the three most... I'm going to go with four options. I'm going to go Mike Maignan, Theo Hernandez. We said Leao. And then I'm going to add Brahim Diaz as well. I think those four are really the key ones. I mean, yeah, there's other good players like Tonali and this and that, but they're not gonna walk into this Napoli team. All right, let's see what the guys in the chat say. Tonali becomes the most important once play opens up, though, says Paul Jurican. I mean, I do agree. Tonali is a great player. He would be in this Napoli squad. I'm not sure he would be consistently chosen over someone like Lobotka, for example, who plays in that same position, or over Anguissa, or over Zielinski. Whereas maybe if we talk about Magnan, I think he would be consistently chosen over Meret. Let's see what else for today. I mean, let's go over for a second over the stats here. We've got, I mean, this crazy stat where Verona actually had 2 more shots on target. I mean, or 1 more shots on target than us. We didn't have a clear moment where the goalkeeper had to make a save, which is kind of crazy. And then if you look at the possession, guys, 80-20. I mean, that's incredible. But yeah, let's go to the table, guys. Look, Lazio with 61 points and us with 75. That means, I mean, with 8 games to go, that means Lazio can reach 85 points. If Juventus get their 15 points back, they can reach, let's see, 44 plus 15 plus 27 that they still have left to win. They could reach 86. So the other team, we have to really reach 85, 86 points to be mathematical. So yeah, that's 10 points, 10, 11 points. So that's going to happen in 4 games if we win the next 4. So let's take a look at the next games. What are the next games? We play Juventus, Salernitana, Udinese, and Fiorentina. So it could happen against Fiorentina, which would be poetic because that's the game where we kind of lost it a few years ago, back in the 18 season. So that could be interesting. Now, obviously, if Lazio start losing points and Juventus don't get their 15 points back, or if they do but they lose points, then this maybe becomes the Udinese game. Yeah, let's see. It also assumes that we have to win against Juventus, the derby against Salernitana and Udinese, which is not 100%, guaranteed. So yeah, let's wait and see. Obviously, everybody wants to know, because, for example, I want to know when to get my flights to go back to Naples. I do happen to be away, guys, which is very annoying. I have flights to be somewhere else from the 3rd to the 8th of May. But yeah, it's looking like I might need to cancel some of this stuff, because this could be historic for Napoli. Payman Dadgar says the only thing that keeps me calmer is Lazio need to play at San Siro twice. Payman is sweating, guys. He's worried about the Scudetto. I'm not worried about the Scudetto, to be honest, man. I mean, we literally have to win just 50% of the games. If we can't do that, then I mean, I can't see a scenario where we don't pick up 10 points out of the available 24, and that Lazio pick up all 24 available to them. I just can't see that happening. I really, really can't. So I'm not worried about the Scudetto. It's just a matter of when. Blue Line says, will Ndombele start versus Milan, or we might see Zielinski and Jack? Look, I really doubt Raspadori is going to play. The midfield's going to be Lobotka, Zielinski, and then it's going to be either Elmas or Ndombele. Now, most likely it's going to be Elmas, but here's the thing. I thought that today Ndombele would have started. You know why? Because here's the thing. Elmas, we already know everything about him. We know where he plays well, where he doesn't play well. He's played in the midfield before. He started before. All these things. The player we haven't, and we've seen a lot of him. We know what level of form he has. The player that we haven't seen quite much is obviously Ndombele. And I thought this was a great chance to see, okay, if I start Ndombele from the start, is he going to deliver? Spalletti didn't even play him today. He didn't even come on. And I'm very shocked about that because I really thought that, this was a great chance. Once you're going to change all these players, you might as well put Ndombele on as well. So that's weird. But anyways, let's go on that note. While we're talking about Elmas and who could have played and all that, let's go to the player ratings. All right. Now, I'm open to suggestions here. And I say that because now that I reopen this file, this picture, I'm already like, I don't know. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did here. I don't know if I'm sticking to this. So, here's the thing. I gave Osimhen a 7.5. I feel like that might be generous. Usually that's given when like you score a goal or assist or something, but the score was still 0-0. At the same time, I do feel like he really lifted everybody's game. He had a great chance. He put himself out there. Didn't shy away from tackles. Showed great fighting spirit even at the final whistle. So maybe I'm going to stick with that. The other one I'm kind of thinking maybe should be a bit higher is possibly Di Lorenzo. Because, again, he was everywhere today. Defensively, well, he didn't have to do much. But in attack, he really supported the attack. Should he get more than a 7? Maybe. Maybe not. I mean, let's not forget that 7 is a good score. 7 means, like, you were good. 6.5 is, yeah, you did a good job. And 7 is like, oh, yeah, he played really well. 8 is like, wow, one of your best performances. Remember that as a criteria. Now, is this one of Di Lorenzo's best performances? Maybe not, but just because we're used to seeing Di Lorenzo at a very high level. Kim, I thought was good today, took a lot of responsibility coming forward, trying to, dictate the midfield as well. So I like the fact that he takes that kind of responsibility. And then everybody else is between a 6 and a 6.5, which is like, you pass. Or, yeah, you were okay, I don't think anybody had like an amazing game. No one had a horrible game except for Raspadori. Now, it pains me to put a 5. But look, you're playing against the team bottom of the table. This is your last chance before Osimhen comes in. You're fully recovered from your injury now. I know this is not your position, but you've got to do more. In the 75 minutes that you play, you've got to at least take a shot on goal. We didn't even see a shot on goal. I'm not asking Raspadori to score, but man, you're good enough to at least take a shot on goal. Then Politano and Lozano, again, decent enough to pass. Really, like, very average. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I expect these guys to be scoring more. I can't even remember the last time they scored. That's how bad it is. When's the last time? Does anybody remember when is the last time either of these two guys have scored? I can't remember. And let's make it harder. Let's make it because I know Politano scored a penalty. Let's see. Does anybody know when they've scored without it being a penalty? First person that responds gets a cookie if we ever meet. I wonder if I've ever, wonder if I'll ever bump into some of you guys. For sure, we should We should organize something, you know, at some point. I gotta make it happen. That's on me. That's not on you guys. I'm saying it as if I'm saying it as if you guys are accountable for that. How can you guys do it? No, I'm the one that has to organize it. What you are accountable for is to help me get to 100 likes. We're at 93, guys. Come on. How can you look at that number, 93, and not be like, you know what? I'm gonna smash the like button and help this guy get to 100. Like, it's just ridiculous, man. What is this? Make it an even number. At least make it 94. At least make it an even number. Anyways, Vesavius reminds me that Ndombele couldn't be selected because of yellow card accumulation. That is crazy. Because when did he get all these yellow cards without playing at all? That's wild. But okay, yeah, no, fair enough then. That explains it. That explains why he didn't even appear off the bench, because he usually does. And Payman says, your dad is right. You're too generous. Most starters are 5.5. Osimhen was great. Yeah, I was. Here's the thing, man. Even the subs, like, I think I was kind of nice. Yeah. I don't know, maybe a 5.5. You're right, maybe on that, because they really did not do enough. If we consider that they're playing against Verona and not against a good opposition, then yeah, you're right. Hard to draw the line on what passes and what doesn't pass. I guess it's not like we lost. Then again, if we'd lost, I would have probably given them a 4. So yeah, maybe you're right, a 5.5. I'll take your point. They're just too many now to change all of them, so I'm not going to change it live. But, yeah. Mike Ekstad, thank you, man, for the $2 donation, says, is Carnesecchi the next Buffon, as YouTubers say? YouTubers will say anyone is the next anything. Some people were saying that Meret is the next Buffon. Then some people said Donnarumma is the next Buffon. The truth is, it's super hard to have a career where you're good for 20 years. Super hard. And I know you don't mean that literally. You don't mean next Buffon literally, like for the next 20 years, and just like, is he the next good goalkeeper in Italy? If that's the question, is he the next good goalkeeper in Italy? Look, he's a great shot stopper, but let's be honest, Cremonese have let in a lot of goals. A lot. I mean, yes, you could say that his performances, need to be addressed separately from that. But let's take a look at the table, for example, right? I'm gonna just take a look at the table and see what their goal difference is. Right? They've conceded 54 goals. Now, look, I don't think 48-year-old, 44-year-old Buffon would be conceding 44 goals if he was playing in that team. Like, I just don't think that you can concede nearly 2 goals a game. Out of 30 games, you've conceded 54 and be hyped up as the new Buffon. Like, I'm sorry, it can't happen. Is he the next good Italian goalkeeper? I mean, he's decent. I don't think he's better than Meret, for example. But yeah. Oh yeah, and Scuffet. I mean, Scuffet was supposed to be the next best Italian goalkeeper. He apparently rejected a move to Atletico Madrid because he needed to finish his high school or something like that. Then I don't even know like where he's playing now. If we Google, let's Google Scuffet, man. This was like 5 years ago or something. He now plays for Cluj. Wow, that's a steep downfall, man. That's to now be playing in Romania, guys. This is crazy. This guy had a market value when he was like 16 of maybe at least 10 million, right? That's to say, like, okay, you might say for 16 how many 16-year-olds are valued 10 million? No one even knows them, but this guy did. Right. EJ Wise in the house says October 16th is the last time any of them scored from open play. If that is true, then that is an absolutely ridiculously crazy and saddening stat. Temeto El Chorizo says we wasted 40 million for Raspadori. Yeah, I would say let's give him one more season to see, because some people have a slow first season. I don't want to judge players on their first season necessarily, especially young players. So let's wait. But I would say it's not tending in the right direction. What positions players should be our transfer target for next season? Asks Sufus Koba. I think we need a decent replacement right back, because Berenzinski didn't convince me when he played against Cremonese in the Coppa Italia. I don't think Zanoli is still ready. I think we should send him out one more season on loan to a Serie A club. We definitely need a replacement for Lobotka, because Dem is going to leave for sure. We definitely need a replacement for Anguissa, because I don't think Ndombele is going to renew with us. We're not going to spend 30 million on Ndombele. And we definitely need we need to sell one of Lozano and Politano. I think it's going to be Lozano. He's got a bit more international market and hype, and the amount of social media followers also affects your attractiveness when you switch over to a new club. People want to sell shirts at the end of the day. So I think Lozano's going to go. And yeah, we're going to need a new right wing. I think on the left, we're going to stay with Kvaratskhelia and possibly with Zerbin being his replacement, because, to be honest, I don't think Kvaratskhelia is going to miss too many games. He's clearly a starter, so we don't need someone like huge behind them. We just need a young guy that can play. I don't have super high thoughts about Zerbin, but I don't think that's where we need to be spending our money. I think we need to bolster our midfield and right wing position. We need to actually get a new starter for the right wing. We need to sell Lozano and get a new starter. So that's what we need to do. Right. Guys, come on. Raspadori, calling him a scam. Look, I know he's not playing super well, but let's give it some time, okay? We've seen enough of Raspadori with Sassuolo, with Italy, with that. Like, guys, he scored against England. He's technically won a Euro. He's had a really good season in the Serie A before. Like, let's just give him some time, okay? It's not easy right now also to play well when the rest of the team is not playing super well. Kolo Muani, Mike Ekstad. Look, in the case that we do sell Osimhen, then the only player I think could possibly replace him effectively and with the same type of play, and a young guy that we can in the future maybe get some value out of a future sale potentially, it's going to be Kolo Muani for sure. So yeah, should we try to buy Scamacca? Is deep down the rabbit hole? Absolutely not. He doesn't offer anything different than Simeone would. Okay, maybe Scamacca has a better long-range shot, but I think what we need is a striker that's quick. If we sell Osimhen, it's a striker that's quick, good in the air. Yeah, it's gotta be what Mike said. It's gotta be Kolo Muani. And also, as Payman says, Lozano will primarily go because of his salary. Yeah, we can't keep paying $4 million a year to a guy that doesn't contribute in terms of goals and assists. And I'm pretty sure that no one in Mexico is still buying Lozano Napoli shirts. I mean, maybe they will if we win the title or the Champions League. They'll just all start buying Lozano t-shirts, but it's not gonna happen next year again, right? I mean, once they have one shirt, they're not gonna buy again. So yeah, I think the Lozano effect is gonna end soon. Right. I think this was a very, very nice live so far, guys. Let's go to the Spalletti press conference, but before we do that, I gotta grab some water, so excuse me for like 2 seconds while I do that. I told you, it was just 2 seconds, guys. Relax, 2 seconds. Some of you already about to close the stream, thinking I was gonna go to the supermarket. 2 seconds, guys. All right, we're back in business now. It's tough to speak for an hour nonstop, especially because I don't tend to speak very much, you know. Right, right. Esquili says I'm buying Lozano shirts. I love how it's plural. Like how many shirts do you intend to buy, bro? Scott McTominay would have been great in the midfield, says 10th round. Nah, you can't. That has to be a troll comment. That has to be a troll comment, bro. You can't actually be thinking about Scott McTominay. Jesus. Also, I don't think his salary is in line with what we have in mind because, he plays for Man United. Everybody has crazy high inflated salaries there. Milinkovic-Savic, again, I don't think he's going to be playing for Napoli if Lazio get Champions League football. Lookman is a very good shout. Temeto, that's a very good shout. Yeah, either Lookman or... Look, I would love... If Victor goes away, my top 3 targets would be Kolo Muani, Hoyman, the Atalanta player. Not Haaland. I mean, obviously Haaland would be nice. Yeah, Mbappe. Whatever the Danish guy. We all know what we're talking about. And then Lookman, also from Atalanta. But they're going to cost at least 60 mil, each one of them. Right. Hakim Ziyech as a right wing, says Georgie. No, Hakim is done. He had a really good World Cup with Morocco, but that was pure emotion. That was pure like, I'm going to play well. These 7 games, I'm going to give all my energy that I have left for the rest of my life into this. And that's it, And plus his salary is quite high as well. Guys, we need people that have a salary under 2 million. That's the players that Napoli goes for. We have a cap on salary unless you're literally like God descended on earth, then we'll maybe give you 4. But no more than that. Right, Spalletti. Let's go. Let's check him out. Let's see what he had to say. All right, let's go find that interview. Let's go find it, guys. While I go find it, you guys keep smashing that like button. Oh, damn. Forza Napoli from Ho Chi Minh. That's crazy, my guy. How is it not past your bedtime already? This must be like 3 a.m. for you. What are you doing, bro? Bro's coming back from a night out on a Saturday night, connecting to Napoli talk. That's what I like to see. That should be... He's actually maybe, I don't know, maybe in the club watching Napoli. I'd like to think that there's some club out there that just projects Napoli talk on the screen. Yeah, Saturday night, Right. Let's see. There's a lot of different interviews going on. All right. Let's go first with Raspadori, actually. Raspadori, that's going to be an interesting interview. So I know it's Spalletti's face there, but I'm going to read Raspadori's interview. All right, here we go. He says, look, from our side, we didn't have a lot of rhythm and we didn't play the ball around with a lot of speed. The fact that they closed themselves at the back made it very difficult for us, but we have to do better and we have to, make sure that we take advantage of this enthusiasm that is, again, in the city. And he says, look, I'm always available for the coach. I feel at ease playing as an attacker in the central areas of the field. I know how to play as a number 9, but I have very different characteristics compared to a classic striker. Today, there were very few spaces for me to take advantage of. Anyways, I think we did a decent game. We have to reset and restart for the next game. There's a lot of enthusiasm. We did a great game against Milan in the first leg, and we are very aware of our abilities and that we have the fans on our side. We are going to have to train very hard and without overthinking things things will turn out the way they need to turn out. I keep working 100% to support the team. And Osimhen is absolutely ready for Tuesday. He has always been ready. Like all of us, we all are ready for Tuesday. I mean, why would the reporter ask him if Osimhen is ready? That's a crazy question. That's a crazy question to ask Raspadori if your rival for a starting 11 spot is ready. Some of you guys are saying Lauriente. Is that Laurient, the French guy, for Sassuolo? Look, he's a very good player. I think he needs one more season with Sassuolo, to be honest with you guys. And I don't think Sassuolo are going to be very keen to sell us him after we took Raspadori from them. But wow, they have a great knack of finding some great players, don't they? Right, Spalletti now to DAZN. He says Verona lowered themselves a lot, so obviously we have to do a lot of short passes to find the right space in between them. But today we didn't see that hole appearing very much. Obviously we needed to play possession, but with a lot of equilibrium, not too fast, not too slow. I don't know why he said that. Usually you should be playing fast-paced football. And then obviously they say, look, in the last 20 minutes, the team played really well. And he says, look, we have a lot of quality. And we can't just play good quality football against Milan in the Champions League. We have to make sure that we apply it in the Serie A as well. Like in the Milan game, we messed up on one of the counterattacks, and today they almost scored against us. Today, Osimhen came back, and he's got a great physique where you can just throw him the ball, and he's going to be able to head it or control it with his chest and protect it, whereas Raspadori has a very different structure. And obviously, Osimhen is a fan favorite. He's got the experience, and he's got the goals on his side. That obviously, when he plays, the whole enthusiasm of the team and of the fans goes up. And he's just not a normal player. And for me, the fans are fundamental. We even had some great away games thanks to the fans. They are a team just like ours. They're part of the team. Today they really made themselves heard. For example, when the other team was wasting time, they were there putting pressure on the player, on the referee to do something about it. There's a lot of enthusiasm, maybe even too much. But if we manage to win the Scudetto, our faces will be on the walls of Naples forever. I'm very happy that they came back. This is what the football players deserve. We need that kind of support. It's fundamental. It's incredible how we can sometimes destroy something so good just by ourselves. The president took the situation under control, like what he does when nobody expects it. Like this, we are stronger. Today we found a team that didn't give us a chance to score a goal. They were super tight at the back. That's what he said. Juan Jesus, they asked him, did Juan Jesus have a good game? And he says, look, I saw great enthusiasm, concentration, and effort from Juan Jesus. Any difficulties that he might have had today, he would have also had. Also, his replacement might have had it. It's extremely difficult to, recover and find yourself ready. It's super difficult to recover and find yourself ready if you've played many games in a row, and especially after such a tough Champions League game against Milan. So I would have started Juan Jesus anyway, since he's fresh, not just because we need to trial him before Milan. There's nothing to trial Juan Jesus for. And it was a necessity not for the next game, but he was a necessity for today. And they ask him about the referee that's going to be there for Napoli Milan, Marciniak, and he says, look, about the game at the San Siro, apart from the Milanisti, we're all very on the same page about what has happened. Unfortunately, we can't have two very key players for us like Kim and Anguissa. What will happen in the next game, however, I don't know. We could have probably... that's it. That's all he has to say. Then he rambles on. Di Lorenzo, he says, is the best right back in the league. Osimhen needed to refine some confidence, and in these 25 minutes, he showed it. And he's not worried that we are not scoring too many goals. It's a thing that can change from one moment to the other. We have the quality to score. And and the fact that we played on Saturday, even though we had a Champions League game against Milan Wednesday, he says, look, it's difficult to maintain a very high level physically when you play such games one after the other. Right, now I've missed some comments. Let me go first off to Mike Ekstad. Thank you, man, again for the $2 donation. Says, Luque Bacchio would be a cheap but risky number 9. Interesting choice. Bit random, I have to say. I mean, Hertha Berlin player. I don't know, man. I mean, he's kind of old already, right? He's about 25, 26. I feel like we need a world-class player. We need, we're trying to replace Osimhen, right? So either you get some guy who's already scored like crazy, so a Colomwani type of guy, or you get a guy who's a bit younger, who's like 21, 20, and has that kind of potential, and has already scored a few. Maybe not like crazy, but a few. So like Lookman, for example. This Luque Bacchio guy, he's already 25, 26. I don't know, man. I feel like if he hasn't exploded by now, he's not going to do it. Anthony Navarro says, going to watch the live later. Thank you, Dom, for all you do. I mean, thank you guys for turning up in the comments and, being so active and supportive. I literally could not do this live if I was not reading your comments. It would last maybe like 2 minutes if there was none of you here. So thank you. Me on my side, I love doing this. I even gave up on going to a Brazilian carnival today. Yeah, they organized a Brazilian carnival that all my mates are going to. But, I'm here doing the live like always. I will only miss a live if there is literally no physical way for me to do it. Like if I'm on a plane but other than that, I've told myself I'm gonna do the live if I can. Even if that means sacrificing a Brazilian carnival, I'm gonna be here, all right? Yeah, would have been better if we had won, but hey, Brazilian carnivals happen every year. And you might be asking, why are you celebrating a Brazilian carnival in April? Well, that's just because we didn't get a chance to do it back in February, so we gotta do what we can, right? Anyways, just very random things about my life. Anyways, Anthony Navarro says, hey guys, live at the New York Yankees baseball game, missed the Napoli game. Shame not to get a shot on target, but I'm okay with this draw if we pass Milan in the Champions League. Napoli need to get 4 wins to mathematically win the Scudetto. Obviously, if we get past Milan, no one's ever going to remember the fact that we lost to them 4-0 in the league, or that we got kind of lucky against Lecce, or that we drew today against Verona, right? The most important thing right now is to be very aggressive and clinical in order to go through in the Champions League, as Bello Sufian says. Someone mentioned Daniel Malin from Dortmund. No, he's really bad. Really, really bad. Milan just looks like. I haven't seen Dortmund too much this season. I've seen like 3 or 4 games. And I mean, in one of the games, he scored. Like, I watched the Klassiker against Bayern Munich, and he scored. I mean, it was a super lucky goal. He just doesn't feel like he's a football. I just don't feel like he's a football player, man. Like, he's just. I don't know. I feel like he's in the wrong sport, man. Let's see what he's done. Let's see what he's done this season. Yeah, 20 appearances, 5 goals, 5 assists. Not good enough, man. Not good enough. And I don't know, dude. Ever since he's bald, I feel like he's lost his touch. He was better when he was with hair. Very random comment, but you can't deny stats. He was a better player when he had hair. Anyways, you could probably find a replacement for Ossi like a Ronaldo Nazario or an Adriano, says Wizu. Yeah. Georgie says, Jeremy Doku as a right wing. That seemed good when I watched him, but he could cost Napoli a lot. Is Jeremy Doku that Belgian guy that looked really good against Italy in the Euros? I haven't seen much of him afterwards. Is he that? Let me see what he's up to. Yeah, it's him. Yeah. See, I like this guy. I like him. Plays for Stade Rennais. They need money. For Rennes. They need money. Look, 3 goals in 22 appearances. Yes, you might say, not great stats. But as a right winger, in the right team, like Napoli, he would wreak so much damage. I feel, oh my God, this guy would actually be so good. And he's only 20 years old. Yeah, we need this guy. We need Jeremy Doku. All right, Georgie, you're hired for being a scout for Napoli Talk. All right, keep coming with some good players for me every week. All right, I'm gonna pay you in respect. I feel like some people actually do. Some people actually would actually do that as a job. Just be a football scout for free, you know? Imagine that. Imagine you're hired by Napoli to be a football scout for free. The only thing you get back is recognition, like people know who you are. But, you know, if you can get the right players, then you have a chance to shape the team that you love. I would do it for free for a year, you know? Obviously, if I had some sort of like friend who I could sleep on the couch on or something like that, and then yeah, if I don't have to worry about rent or something, I would do it for a year. Right, the poll got 122 votes. I'm gonna end it there, and the results was, if you could remove one person from Milan, it would be Mike Magnan with 56%, then Theo with 18, Leao with 15, so more or less the same, and then Diaz 9%. So yeah, Mike Magnan, guys. Obviously, stuff of nightmares for us after that last game. Right. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna wrap this. I'm gonna wrap this live right here. I know we didn't win, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about the Serie A. So for me, it's not a horrible, feeling. Obviously, I would love to win, but hey, eventually we're gonna get this title, right? What's most important for me is actually the fact that Osimhen came back, that he looked sharp, that he knows where the goal is. He hit the crossbar. The team felt like they played better when he was there. The crowd and De Laurentiis made peace. All these things are the right elements, or the right ingredients for a really nice dish that we're gonna serve Milan in a few days' time. So even though maybe the appetizer wasn't excellent, actually it was kind of below par. It's just because we're cooking something in the background that's taken a lot of effort and resources. Anyways, guys, with that, I'm gonna end it there. See you guys, and as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.